First off, I would like to say all praises to the Most High in the name of Yeshua. We thank Him for giving us breath and another Sabbath in an effort to bring forth His Word. Okay? Now, I would like to say this clearly. Some people out there might ask why we don't teach some of the things you can normally hear in a Christian church. And the reason is, what would be the benefit of teaching what you can get on every pagan church corner in the earth? That's futile. If you want to learn what they're teaching in the church, then why did you leave the church? Okay, so some people ask why we don't teach certain things. Why teach what you know already? So we try to endeavor and go into the mysteries of the Bible and get and receive a higher understanding of the universe. Okay, so but if anyone asks us any questions on any other topic, we'd be more than happy to answer them. But the reason we don't teach what you can see in a Christian church every day is because you probably already know that. Okay? I don't know if there's something going on in the church where they repetitiously need to reassure the members certain things over and over again repetitiously. Alright? But what we try to do, we try to go into in-depth understandings and to give people an understanding of the universe and the world we live in, not information to have us cope in a society we don't understand. And that's what a lot of Christian churches, it's more pacification. It's pacifying you and having you accept your current scenario or situation without explanation and to feel good in total ignorance. All right? Not to say that that's all the churches do, because the communion, the coming together, seeing other people who believe, all those things are important. Okay? The gathering together, just the anointing of bringing people together, nothing, that's great. Even the entertainment part, to some degree, is great. But when it comes to the in-depth doctrine and understanding of the Bible, church is not, modern day theology in church is not the place to go to actually learn what's going on in the Bible. So, just to give an example of what I'm saying in an overview before I go into the lesson. Some people may ask, well, why don't we hear more of Christ when we see some of your lessons? The reason they ask these questions is because they haven't learned or read Christ's teachings. Okay? They feel if you cater to their spirit, and that's teaching Christ. If you just teach of love and just teach of peace and unity and harmony, the psychological profile on that, that's Christ according to what you learn in the churches. But Christ is truth. That's what Christ is. You can't put Christ in a bubble or in one spectrum of what Christ is and say, okay, this is Christ. And anything outside of this package is not Christ. That's what the Christian churches have done. Alright? They have actually put themselves within a cult of misunderstandings of the Bible in Christ. And they have built a wall or a barrier to say anything on the outside of this cult is a cult. Alright? Let's see if we can get some understanding. Today, this evening, through the Spirit of the Most High, we're going to show you it's unfair. I'm going to say it's unfair because people are, I think most people are ignorant when it comes to history to some degree, and it's not their fault, and I'm going to go into that. I'm going to show you why most people out there, and even the nations today, and the people who are waking up, are saying that the white man is the devil. I want to put that out there. Now, the reason they're saying the white man is the devil is when they look at current society and what's going on in the earth, they're looking at the hierarchy, and they see that the people who are controlling the earth at this time are primarily white people. And I'll say that's totally ignorant, because if you go into different times in society, when we were under the Persians and they were looking for our mass extermination and trying to kill us, back then we would say that the Persians were the devil, because they were the people trying to kill us. If we were under the Egyptian captivity, when they were trying to kill us and they was killing all the man-child, and they made a decree where the midwives in Exodus, the 1st chapter, were told to break the necks of all the young men that would come through out of the woman's womb. If we were living back in the Egypt's time, we would say that the Egyptians was the devil. It so happened that in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 it says Esau, is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. To let us know that Esau would be ruling at the end of the world. So all eyes are on Esau right now. So that's why everyone is bringing out this thing, well, look what the white man did, look what the white man did. But I'm going to show you that through history, the white man is doing the same thing that all the enemies of Israel have ever done. Okay, and there's a spirit behind it. And this teaching will put us in a global understanding of what we are fighting against, instead of pointing it directly to color. All right? We're not wrestling with anything that we can see. See, it's easy to point to what you can see and use that as an excuse to blame somebody. But it's the unseen. That's our biggest enemy. And the unseen is being used by other nations. Yeah. You got something? Okay. It's the unseen that are being used by other nations. And other nations in their hierarchy have used the unseen. It's easy to point to the white man now because we're at the end of the world, and it so happened that their rulership is last. All right? But I'm setting the stage to say, how can we trace the powers that be that are attacking us from ancient time to present time? We will attempt to do that this evening. So you can see the spirits that were over religion and over government passed from one nation to the next, all the way to the present time, all to our present time, in our present, what you would call governments that are ruling the earth right now. All right? And this will give you more of a mindset of the earth on a global scale, on how powers change hands, how societies fall, okay, why it's aimed towards destroying us. I hope to go into this to have you understand. We're going to use some history, and I'm going to throw some names out there. I'm going to throw some information out there. Some I can expound on, and some I'd rather not talk about, because I don't want people going into some of the wrong things. But I'm going to show you, through the Spirit of the Most High, how this happened. Where you have secret societies, powers that are in place, who are controlled by spirits and demons. And how they develop that relationship to deal with these spirits on a regular basis to control us and eventually fight against the elect. Okay? Now, I have a lot of information, so I'm going to try to go through these things. And then after I'm done, we can open it for questions for those who don't understand. And if you don't understand it, some things you may have to go back and look at the rebroadcast. Just look at a rerun, or go back and study the clip, and a lot of information will come. But it all started at the beginning. And I'm going to show you how this knowledge that are attacking and destroying this earth, that actually will result in us needing a new earth, where this began and how it went from society to society up until our current day elites. Okay? Up until our current time with our elites in the earth today. Now, I need you to go to Genesis 3rd chapter. And let's start at the first verse.
Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
It says that now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. We understand the serpent right here is the fallen one. Read.
Which the Most High Power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High hath said, Ye shall not eat of it. So there was a fruit that the Most High forbid Adam and Eve to touch. Read. Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for the Most High doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened.
Your eyes shall be what?
Your eyes shall be opened.
Your eyes shall be open. And when your eyes are open, what?
And ye shall be as gods.
You shall be as gods. Read.
Knowing good and evil.
Knowing good and evil. So let's examine this. All right. Now, was Eve's eyes open? Her physical eyes? Yes. So this is not talking about the physical attributes of seeing. This is speaking of being able to see and have knowledge on another level. And this other level is to be as gods. Now, gods, according to what the fallen one is explaining, is what he was. So there's knowledge when he fell that he had that was not introduced to mankind. Now, and when you take of this fruit, read.
Ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
You will understand both good and evil. Now, some people might say, well, what's wrong with knowing good? See, you have to understand the mindset behind the powers that are controlling the earth. If you understand character of good and evil, you can use psychology to control the masses. If you understand attributes, if you understand what happens at a certain time of year, the moods of people, you can control a society. So this was knowledge, not just how to embetter yourself. In the wrong hands, it could be used to destroy and to control the Most High's people. Listen to this clearly. Read.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
So she seen it was good, she wouldn't took of this food or this fruit. Read.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes.
And it was pleasant to the eyes, not her physical eyes, because she could see physically even before this. That means idea. There was an idea, an understanding that was given to her that she didn't have prior. Read.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise.
To do what?
To make one wise.
To make one wise. Now, what's the benefit of this? If you have knowledge of something, You know, that the old saying, the old adage, knowledge is power. If you have knowledge of something, it automatically gives you an advantage over the rest. That's why she was able to trick Adam into doing it, because she had knowledge of something he didn't. Now, suppose we're living in a current day society where most people are dumbed down, but the people or the powers that control the earth have this knowledge that was given to Adam and Eve once they ate of this fruit. That would actually put a chasm in classifications of knowledge between the elite and the regular people. I'm going to show you how this agreement with Satan that was made when Adam and Eve fell was given to the elites of this earth to control and to fight against us. Right? Now think about this. Just imagine if the powers that be have this knowledge. Now the question is, did the serpent stop at Adam and Eve? The answer to that is absolutely not. Suppose this information that was given, or this wisdom that was given to Adam and Eve, was written in scrolls and passed from one civilization to the next to rule the masses. And yes, and suppose the elites and powers of this earth have this information, and it's the technology you see today. I'm going to prove that so, and I'm going to bring it all the way from the beginning up into our present day time. So the answer to that is absolutely yes. This knowledge of good and evil, or what you would call psychology, was used through all societies to control and to eventually destroy the children of the Most High. It's something deeper than that. You have the fallen one and his cohorts that fell from the heavenly realm, who now have lost the spiritual power to go before the throne of the Most High. And you know Lucifer promised to go before the Most High and take the Most High down. Let's go there. Let's go to Isaiah. And let's read the 12th verse.
Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12.
Read it.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How did you fall from heaven, O Lucifer?
Son of the morning.
He was called son of the morning because he was a morning star. He would sing before the Most High. There's angels before the heavenly throne called the morning stars. And every morning, that's the music you hear at the throne. Well, the Most High hears the throne. They would come before him and sing every morning. Lucifer was the leader of this. Read.
How art thou cast down, cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
This is what he said in his heart. This is his promise, to go back above the firmament of the heavens, or what we would call the ozone layer, go on the outside of the ozone layer, which is space, which is actually heaven, brothers and sisters. Read.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. This is showing us something here. That these space programs they're making, actually they're taking spirits out there to inhabit different parts of space in their little machines. These spirits are trying to get off Earth. Okay, they're not looking for water on Mars. The Bible is telling us exactly what's going on. And see, mankind is in agreement with these spirits for the knowledge these spirits under the fallen one have given them. Read.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation and the sides of the north. The
sides of the north is due north, as far north as you can go. That's where the Most High is. But the Most High understands, listen, he's millions and millions of light years away from where we are. So there is no physical technology that can get Lucifer here to the north, to where the Most High is. But he kind of figured that he could make an agreement with the elite in this earth to use the earth as a tool and its technology to help him get to the north in that last battle against the Most High, the Creator. Now this is what he's thinking. And the elites are in agreement with it. This is what they believe, brothers and sisters. They believe that if they can help Lucifer regain his original form, that's why they call him the Enlightened One, the Illuminist, that he will get the power to give them immortality. This is what our elites and government powers are taught. This is what they believe. Read.
Verse 14. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
See? He will be the Most High. He will be like the Most High. So he wants that original position he tried to get before the Most High hurled him. So he's trying to get back his original form. And he needs mankind to help him. He was banished to earth. Okay? And through that, he's subject to the laws within this earth. So even if they need to destroy the earth to get the resources for him to fulfill his oath to get back before the throne, this is what they will do. This is what they are doing. Now, so I can't put the cart before the horse, because I said that I would go into some key information to let you see how this moved from one society to the next. Let's go to Ephesians, the 6th chapter.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Read it again.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Our real fight is not against flesh and blood, brothers and sisters. So it's a diversion. If you would just point and say, well, the white man is the devil. Okay? Or this man is the devil, or the black man is the devil, or the Persian man is the devil, or the Egyptians are the devil. It's futile, because these powers that are controlling the earth, what I would say people, are only slaves to the spirits and demons who are giving them technology. Now what they're doing is not right, and there will be a judgment for what they're doing, because they are complicit to mass genocide and the promotion of sin all through the earth. But all in all, we're not wrestling with flesh and blood. Okay? When Christ ran into a person that was vexed with a spirit or a demon, he didn't really deal with the person. He dealt with the spirit that had the person bound. And we tend to point to the people opposed to the spirit that's controlling the person. And then wonder, well, why don't we have power to cast out spirits? Why can't we do certain things? Why? We don't even recognize that it's not the person but a spirit. So how can you think about having power to do anything when you don't know what you're doing? It's like not having a profession, or you're a doctor or you're not a doctor, and you're going in and you've been placed in a room and now you have to do open heart surgery. It's impossible, because you haven't learned anything. And that's by the same token when we talk about, well, why are people not doing casting out spirits and doing certain things anymore? Why? They're caught up into this modern day, what you would call education, and they've been diverted into understanding that we're not wrestling with flesh and blood. That there's spirits on people that you must recognize first. And see, this will have us focus more so on what we can see. Paul was telling us, Christ was telling us, Listen, that's not our real battle. Don't get caught up with the diversions. Another thing, I don't mean to go off the beaten path because, you know, sometimes I do. But I want to say this. This happens the same time when you're being attacked or someone's going against you and all that. You divert the whole situation by actually entertaining it and going back and forth with it. Because you're not wrestling with flesh and blood. There was a spirit that compelled the person to do certain things. And that's why Christ says, well, if they try to do something, turn the other cheek. Don't react to anything someone is doing, because now the spirit can now control you. So you can't react to a spirit. You're not wrestling with flesh and blood or a person. We're wrestling with spirits. And we're going to show you how these spirits have been allowed to run rampant in the earth. Someone might ask, well, why would God allow this to happen? I'm going to show you. Man had power in the earth. Also, man had power of choice. Now, what happens if the powers that be in this earth understand how to actually conjure spirits in the earth for their particular purpose? And I'm going to go into that. So you want to blame the Most High for something man is doing. Man has power to conjure in spirits, to conjure spirits. I'm going to go into that. This is going to give us a higher understanding of what we're fighting against. And let me tell you, I don't know whether or not they're going to let this video stay on, because we're going to go into some names, some dates. We're going to go piece by piece as much as we can to show you who's behind the evil and who is connected with Satan, and where was these meetings. How was the scrolls of the tree of good and evil passed down from generation to generation? We wrestle not with flesh and blood, read it,
but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. So there's rulers that are not people in this earth. Read.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places. Read.
Verse 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High.
So only Christ can give us this armor that can fight against the unseen. Our battle is not with the physical. We cannot be diverted. I don't pull out the nations and Edom and the other nations so that we can focus on them. I pull it out because Paul told us that man of sin must be revealed, and then the end shall come. So we did this to show you that, listen, we must reveal the powers that are controlling this earth, that made the agreement with Satan to take on the tree of good and evil, to execute this plan. And they are complicit with the fallen one, against the Most High and his people, and they are helping through ingenuity and technology Lucifer and his cohorts to fulfill this prophecy leading to the battle of Armageddon in the heavens. So we have to reveal who's doing this. But it's not our focus to try to say, well, let's look at them, because we can't fight against them. We cannot fight. Our fight is spiritual. Now, what are the tools of those that are fighting against us? What are their tools? We want to go there. Before we go there, what gods? Let's get the one in the Apocrypha real quick to show that all nations have a God over them. But the Most High became the God of the Hebrews, unless we yield ourselves to their gods. So we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but there's high rulers we can't see in the spirit that control the world. And for those who, what I would say, worship the gods, get knowledge and technology to rule the rest of the ignorance what I would call the unknowing people in the earth, the people that just don't know. You can't call them ignorant, they just don't know. So you have those that are willing to make an agreement with these gods, even sacrifice people, whatever they need to do, to get certain knowledge, to have power over people. These people are so power hungry, and so their ambition leads them to want to control other people. Okay? And with that particular ambition, they get an agreement with the fallen one and say, okay, we'll give you knowledge and technology, but you have to help me do this. You can control these people because they're going to die anyway. I don't care about them. I'm trying to get to the heavens. Are you in agreement to help me do this? Now, this is the real agreement that goes down. Let me show you this chapter and verse in Ecclesiasticus.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 17, verse 17.
Ecclesiasticus 17 and 17 in the Apocrypha. Read.
For in the division of the nations of the whole earth.
In the divisions of the nations of the whole earth. That means every nationality of people. Read it again.
For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people.
He set a ruler over every people. That means there's a God over every nation. Whether you be, just say when the Lord divided the earth into bounds. Ham, Shem, Japheth, Ishmael, all these different families, Syrians, Elam. There was a God or a fallen God placed over every nation. So that's the understanding of worshiping idols and gods. And so you can prosper or to get rain or get any similitude of peace within your bounds, you needed to reverence the God who was over you. All right? This is the history of your idols and your worshiping of fallen angels. Read that again.
For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people.
He set a ruler over every people. Read.
But Israel is the Most High's portion.
But Israel is the Most High's portion, which means the Most High allowed an angel to be over every nation, but not the children of Israel. All right? Now, He's our God. He's the children of Israel's God. So there's no need for an angel to be over us. Now, what happens when Lucifer gives them the understanding of good and evil, and they realize that they can get above the rest of society if they link in with that angel that was put over them? If they can find out who that angel is and worship that angel and conjure that angel and get an agreement with that angel. Now you have people connecting with the unseen. This is what's going on in the earth, brothers and sisters. This is why people sacrifice to angels. They sacrifice normal people in society. This is the reason people get kidnapped and you don't know where they are and they get sacrificed in little dark cellars. This is what's really going on. They're doing this for prosperity and knowledge and power over the population. Okay? And I hope I'm bringing this on the lowest. I'm trying to go as low as I can to have us understand what side we need to be on. Now, what are the tools that the adversary use against us? Let's go to Deuteronomy 18. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10.
Deuteronomy 18 and 10. Read.
There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
Read that again.
There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
There shall be no one amongst the children of Israel that will have his son or daughter to pass through the fire. Now, why did the Most High give us this law? See, unless we understand this, you don't have a grasp of how society works, especially a society that was given into the hand of the wicked. He was telling us this is because the other nations figured that if they sacrifice people to that God that's over them, then they would get blessings. They would get blessings because they were willing to sacrifice one they love. Almost similar to how the Most High told Abraham to bring his son, his only son Isaac, for a sacrifice. Alright? So the other nations do this. They do blood sacrifice to their God that's been set over them for prosperity. Alright? And what they did was they slowly but surely integrated this in society where it's normal. This is a normal play in society to keep their power. There's a certain amount of children they must sacrifice each year. What do you think Planned Parenthood is? There's more. Read.
Or that useth divination.
Here's some more tools that fuels the adversary and those that are on the wrong side of this. And those that are on the wrong side of this. Listen to this clearly. First of all, sacrifices is used. Second, read again.
Or that useth divination.
Divination. That means divining. Okay? Telling the future. You notice all these things are normal in our society, and they promote it to us as regular choices. You can go somewhere and get your palm read or get your future told. These are all tools embedded or actually embedded in society for us to liberally partake in. Here's tools that's in our everyday life that you walk by and you see. Read.
Or that useth divination, or an observer of times.
An observer of times. You got people who can try to tell the future. They go into different levels of telling you what's going to happen, like Nostradamus. Nostradamus was a top sorcerer. We're going to go into him also in a moment. Top sorcerer, Nostradamus. Read.
Or an enchanter.
Or an enchanter. You got people who put enchantments on people, like charmers, and does different incantations. These things are normal on the wrong side of the Most High, under Lucifer. You're going to find out all these things encompasses the tree of good and evil. This is what Satan produced in the earth to his elites, to those that are under him, to control the masses. Okay, and to them it's good to have all this knowledge, this science, this understanding. It's good, right? To them. Read.
Or a witch.
Or a witch. Okay, a witch is a female conjurer, a woman who would be behind all types of sorcery and witchcraft and do different potions. Okay, now I know some brothers and sisters don't know that your government pumps out witches and warlocks every day, and they put a white jacket on them and call them doctors. Okay, these were what you would call wizards and witches in old time, where they would know what ingredient to use to poison you or to get you well or to do this and you can feel a certain type of way. Those were your doctors. But they were called witches and warlocks. Today, they're called practicing doctors. Okay, but they're warlocks. They're witches. Read.
Or a charmer.
Or a charmer. All these things are needed in a society in order for the fallen one to fulfill his promise and to control the masses and to destroy us. And the Most High told us, stay away from all these things. Read.
Or a consultant with familiar spirits.
Here's another thing. This is knowledge that was given to certain people the nations had to be able to connect with familiar spirits. Calling spirits, trying to call spirits from the dead. Yes. This is a lot. See, some brothers and sisters don't know the knowledge that was actually given from the beginning. The knowledge that Adam and Eve was able to partake into. And I'm going to show you that our elite have this understanding and was able to market this and put it in society in an effort to destroy us. See, but they knew we would wake up too. They knew we would wake up to the game and what they were doing. So they targeted our genocide at the same time that we would wake up. Okay? Read.
Or a wizard.
Or a wizard. That's a male witch. That's like your witch doctors over in Haiti, over in Africa. These different, your pope, your cardinals, your bishops that are over the Roman Catholic Church. These are all wizards. Read.
Or a necromancer.
Or a necromancer. Let's get necromancer in the Hebrew. And some people might ask about, am I saying doctors or witches and warlocks? Absolutely 100%. When you go into the word sorcery, the word is pharmakeia. Pharmakeia is pharmaceuticals. So they are sorcerers. They are prescribing you medication or potions. See, back in ancient and Druid times, in Celts times, and ancient Babylonian times, they were called potions. Now, they're called drugs. Okay? Let's get necromancer.
Necromancer.
Go ahead.
Hebrew reference H, 1875.
Go ahead.
The Rosh. A primitive root properly to tread or frequent, usually to follow, for pursuit or search, by implication, to seek or ask, specifically to worship. Ask at all, care for, diligently inquire, make inquisition, necromancer. Question, require, search.
Yeah, you get that one too. Here's an example of a necromancer. There's certain units within the CIA and government in which they would have these witches and these warlocks. They put them in the room and they'll ask them certain questions to find someone that's missing, to go and seek someone out that have been buried or got killed and who killed them. These are actual people who have linked into the spirit of necromancy who can actually do this. And these units are within police and CIA. Okay, so these things must have been prevalent in society with the Gentiles if the Most High made a distinction and told us, listen, these are the people I want you to stay away from, and don't do these things because you must link into fallen spirits to have this particular power. The power I will give you is different. The power I will give you will be through faith and through actually what you would call necessity. Why did the Most High part the Red Sea? Because it was needed. We needed to get through the water to get to the other side before Pharaoh killed us. So that was through necessity. Okay? It wasn't just because the Most High wanted to do a magic trick. Alright? And that's the power we have through necessity if we link into Christ. But we are not supposed to go into these practicing to conjure spirits into their psychology to be able to do these particular things, because you take on a spirit. You take on a demon. Now that the demon has power over you and you are a slave to this demon operates in different parts of your life. You just invited this spirit in, but it don't stop there. It don't stop with you being a necromancer or a witch. Something comes with all that. fix your soul. Chapter and verse.
1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make the keeper of my head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him.
So Samuel was a prophet of the Most High. He died, and all of Israel lamented or cried for him. He was a great prophet of the Most High. Read.
And buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land.
So Saul was behind taking all the wizards and the necromancers and making sure they were outside the city. They couldn't become part of God's areas. They were banished. Read.
And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw that the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
So he seen the Philistines, and he thought that he would lose the war, and he was afraid. Read.
Verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Most High answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by the prophet.
So every which way he tried to get some information from the Most High was not delivering any spirit to him of understanding that he was with him. So what did Saul do? Read.
Verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit.
You go find me a witch. Read.
That I may go tell her, and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
So he disguised himself with 2 guys and went to this witch and said, Listen, I want to call someone from the dead. I'm going to give you the name, and I need you to conjure this spirit for me. Now Samuel was dead at this time. So before this, Saul would get advice from the prophet of the Most High, Samuel. But now Samuel was gone. So he sought out a witch who had the power to do this. Read.
Verse 9. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, and how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land.
He said, You know that Saul, because he was disguised. And she said, You know that it's against the law for me to do this, because we're not supposed to do this. We've been banished. Read.
Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die?
So what you trying to do? Set me up? Read.
Verse 10. And Saul sware unto her by the Most High, saying, As the Most High liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee?
Who do you want me to conjure? Read.
And he said, Bring me up Samuel.
Bring me up Samuel. Now, just imagine this, brothers and sisters. Now, she did it. She called Samuel's spirit out of Hades to communicate with Saul. And Samuel spoke and said, Listen, you shouldn't have woke me up, but I'll tell you what, you're going down. You're going to lose. You will die through this. But I'm just showing you a part of what we're wrestling against. The people that are over this earth, that are in your White House, that are in Buckingham Palace, that are in your high government places, this is what they do. Now just imagine that they had the power to call some of the most evil and vile rulers of our past for information. They do. I don't want to get too deep up in here. Let's go to Daniel's, the 2nd chapter. This is the belief system. What I'm showing you, brothers and sisters, are the belief system over all religion in the earth. You notice in the Christian church, there's a thing where people shaking and screaming and speaking in unknown tongues and spitting on themselves, and the music is playing. I'm going to show you what that is about also. And how through religion it's ritualistic. It's all rituals. Smoke going on and in the Catholic Church, and idolatry and music going and organs going. What is this all about? I'm going to show you. Read.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 1.
Daniel's 2 and 1. Read.
And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar.
Now I'm going here to show you how from society they were dealing with certain spirits. Now think about this. Even in ancient Egypt, Moses would do a miracle, and the Egyptians, their wizards, would do a miracle to show you the Most High's power versus the fallen one's power. It didn't just stop with Egypt. Once the Most High took down Egypt, Satan packed up his bags and got another empire ready to go against us. And another power-hungry ruler who would actually get ingenuity and technology from him to eventually come against us. And I'm saying this to say, if we just focus, listen to me clearly, brothers and sisters, if we just focus on the white man, we are totally off base in understanding the biblical concept. Okay? I'm going to tell you, if most white people knew what the elites were doing, they would fight against what the elites are doing. Believe me. I don't think they would be able to stomach the child sacrifice. I don't think a lot of them would be able to stomach them calling up an old prophet from some place or some old demon from some place to give them information. Most white people can't fathom that. Okay, not anyone. If we understood what they did in dark corners, in dark places, and these little secret chambers they have all over the earth. Read.
And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams.
Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, read.
Wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call all the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king.
You see that? Now the prophet Daniel, now you wondering, what is this doing in the prophet Daniel's book? You have to understand that a president or king's cabinet is filled with these spirits the Most High said don't deal with. These kingdoms are set up under the fallen one. So they get their information from the fallen angels, demons, spirits. This is where they get the information. So it was just second nature for him to say, okay, give me a few wizards over here. Bring some sorcerers. Give me some necromancers. I need someone to break down this dream. Because why? All nations have an angel over them except God's people. All nations have a God over them except the children of Israel. This is their regular way. We go pray to the Most High, the God of heaven, the God of all gods. They go pray to these spirits that have empowered them over us. This is how this thing worked, brothers and sisters. Now they couldn't answer this, of course. Daniel was able to come and break down this vision of the empires that would, and then he was showed empires, but Daniel was able to break this down. The wizards could not. But I'm just showing you, here's a king who get his counsel from all that the Most High told us to stay away from. This is how your presidents work, and I'm going to show you. This is how your kings work. When when your president, Barack Obama, when Barack Obama got in office, who do you think they surround themselves with? The biggest sorcerers, the witchcraft? Let me tell you, Hillary is more powerful than Bill. She's a top witch. All right? And she's been used through many cabinets. She was on the scene after Bill wasn't president anymore. Still on the scene, doing things. And look where she is now. Okay? Top witch. She's more powerful than Bill Clinton. Top witch. Another guy. Here's a guy that many presidents have. Every president have this guy as their, what you would call, international advisor. Brzezinski, the one that was behind what you would call setting up Afghanistan and all what's going on with them to topple Russia. The foreign administration under Brzezinski. And if you look at this guy looked like he crawled out of hell. This particular guy was the advisor for all the presidents almost since after Lyndon B. Johnson. What is this dude hanging around for? He's one of their top wizards. Okay? And now he's sitting with Barack Obama. All right? Now, I need you to go to Isaiah 19 and 13. Isaiah 19 and 3. And we're going back to Daniel, the 9th chapter. We're going back to Daniel, the 9th chapter, right after that.
Isaiah chapter 19, verse 3.
Read.
And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord.
You see that? So it says, so what did the Most High do? When he destroys a society, he take down all their evil counselors. This is how societies go from one power to the next. You have your seers and all them in place who can see all these different things. Therefore, your society is protected, because if you have a magician or a necromancer or a wizard that come to you and say, well, you got to do this or they're going to destroy your kingdom, then you're going to follow your counselor. So the Most High darken their seers before there's a change of society. That's how one empire falls, then another empire rises. And those spirits that was once controlling this empire will go to the next empire. Why? Because if there's no change in hands, the people will start getting knowledge and topple the whole thing. So eventually it goes from one empire to the next. And I'm just dealing with this on a political scale. But all in all, it's the Most High doing this, leading to the fall of all the nations, so that Israel can rise. We're not to partake in their ways. We're not to go get our palms read. We're not supposed to be dealing with astrology. We're not supposed to be dealing with any of those things. Our protection is the full armor of the Most High in Christ. That's our protection. If we want to find out what's going on in our lives, we must seek the Most High. All right? Now let's go to Daniel's 9 real quick.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 26.
9 and 26. Now when you go read Daniel's 9, it primarily goes into all the powers and this one spirit that would come up in the earth, which is the spirit of Antiochus Epiphanes, which would destroy the children of Israel. Now, as you can see, when you read Daniel 7 through Daniel 9, it talks about the Babylonian Assyrian captivity, the Persian Medo captivity, where the nations were destroying us. And it talks about matter of fact, let's get that, where it says the king of Persia withstood it. Then we're going back to Daniel's 9. Daniel's 10, the water brother, Daniel's 10, and let's start at the 12th verse.
Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. And
I'm showing you how this understanding that all the rulers get, how they get this from the left-hand side, and that this happened all the way up until our present time with Barack Obama, the Pope, all of them. Listen to this clearly.
Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before the Most High, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days.
He says, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. Now, that means Christ was sent to take down the Persian Empire through the Spirit to raise up the next kingdom that would come. After the Persian Medo Empire, you would have what empire? The Grecian Empire. But on the spiritual side, he was contending with this spirit for 21 extra days to show you there's a spirit over every nation. So this God over the Persians was fighting to keep the Persians in power. This is what we don't see. This is the unseen. Read.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me.
So now Yeshua was doing his thing behind closed doors, fighting the king of Persia and going against his spirit that will allow the Grecians to rise, to the point this Persian God was so starch and adamant in staying in power. Michael came to help him take down the spirit of Persia so that the Greek Empire could be fulfilled. Hope y'all can see this. So this is what goes on for one empire to fall and another empire to reign in its stead, to come in its stead. And when the other empire comes, guess who goes over with the next empire and gets into the next king? Yes, the fallen one. And say, listen, I can give you knowledge to see, both good and evil. I can give you everything, but you got to help me do this. And then all his sorcerers, necromancers and wizards and all of that goes with the next empire, Satan's cabinet. Hope you're following me here. This is how this thing happens in the spirit. We see it in the physical, but something happens in the spiritual before there's a change of powers. Okay, let's go to Daniel the 9th chapter. Yeah, you can read it. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 10 verse 20.
Go ahead.
Then said he, Knowest thou wherefore I am come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth...
Read that 20th verse again for me.
Verse 20. Then said he, Knowest thou therefore that I am come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come.
See that? He says, he says, Daniel, I'm talking to you right now. But now, soon, I'm going to the prince to finish fighting with the prince of Persia. And then after that, the Greeks will come on the scene. The Greeks are next. Now look at this. See, if brothers and sisters know this, then they just can't point to a white man or this man. It's all in the hands of the Most High. Okay? The powers that be cannot help the time that was prophesied that they would be in power. If we were living under the Persians again, and the way they were treating us, and they tried to mass exterminate us during the time of Esther. If we were living under the Persians, you would have brothers standing talking about the Persians are the devil. They're the devil that the Torah and Tanakh speaks of. They're just focusing on one empire and not focusing on the grand scheme. Okay? Now, let's go to Daniel's 9. With Daniel's 9? Let's get it. Daniel's 9 and the 26th verse. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 9 verse 26. And after 62 weeks.
After 62 weeks, given a time, because Daniel is wondering when will Israel be delivered, and he's given a time period here. Read.
Shall Messiah be cut off.
That's talking about Christ being crucified. This is what Daniel is being shown. Read.
but not for himself.
But he's not dying for himself. He's dying for the sins of the children of Israel. Read.
And the people of the prince.
And the people of the what?
And the people of the prince.
And the people of the prince. Who's the prince? Hold that. Hold that. And let's get John. Let's get the prince here. John 12 and 31.
St. John chapter 12, verse 31.
Read it.
Now is the judgment of this world.
Now is the judgment of this world.
Now shall the prince of this world be cast out.
And now shall the prince of this world be cast out. What was Christ talking about? The prince of this world, the principalities and the powers of the air. The prince of this world is the fallen one. Now let's go back to Daniel, the 9th chapter, when it talks about, when it says after the people, when it talks about Christ being killed, but not for himself.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
The crucifixion,
but not for himself.
but not for himself, but for the children of Israel. Read.
And the people of the prince.
The people that are being controlled by Satan, that have power under Satan. Read.
That shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary.
So if you want to know who the people of the prince are, they are the Romans. They are the people who came and destroyed the sanctuary, which means the knowledge of all that evil since the beginning is now being passed to who? The Romans. Now we didn't track this serpent from the beginning through all empires. Now he's with the Romans now. To do what? To fulfill his original promise. Read.
And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the
And it
end.
says the end thereof shall be with the flood. When you go into Revelation, the 12th chapter, it talks about after they took us down, that we fled into the wilderness, and a flood followed after the woman. That flood is your religion, your witchcraft, your sorcery. All the things the Most High said we cannot partake in. Read.
And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined.
And they will continue to do this until they make Israel desolate altogether. That is the plan of the fallen one and his cohorts and the societies who are in agreement with the fallen ones. Okay? Hope you're with me now. Now let me give you some overview of how this thing spread through history. During the time of Persia, when all the spirits were operating with him, with the fallen one in Persia, and I know y'all seen it under King Darius and different kings of Persia. Listen to this clearly. As a matter of fact, let's get that. Get me Esdras. First Esdras 3. Start at the first verse. Esdras 3 and 1.
First Esdras chapter 3 verse 1. Now when Darius reigned, he made a great feast unto all his subjects, and unto all his household, and unto all the princes of Media and Persia, and to all the governors and captains and lieutenants that were under him, from India unto Ethiopia.
Unto who?
From India unto Ethiopia.
Read.
Of 127 provinces. And when they had eaten and drunken, and being satisfied were gone home, then Darius the king went into his bedchamber and slept. And soon after, with the guard that kept the king's body, spake one to another, Let every one of us speak a sentence. He that shall overcome, and whose sentence shall seem wiser than all the others, unto him shall the king Darius give great gifts and great things in token of victory, as to be clothed in purple, to drink in gold, and to sleep upon gold.
Let's see what happened under King Darius after things was fulfilled, after someone brought a wise saying and said, well, if I give you this wise saying, I just need you to help me build the temple that was fallen. Now don't forget, he's saying the temple that was fallen because it fell under the Babylonians. And now Persians are in charge. You got Ezra saying, you got the prophet saying, well listen, we need to build the temple again. Go to 1 Ezra 4 and 45, and let's see what happened here.
1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple.
You vowed to build the temple, read.
Which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
So who burnt the temple in the past, even when we fell? The children of Edom burnt our temple. And I wanted to show that. Read the 50th verse.
Verse 50. And that all the country which they hold should be free without tribute, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which they then held.
So now, the Edomites started taking our lands back then, but they had to give over some of our villages once the Persians decreed this. Now, of course, the Persians did this to the Edomites, and the Edomites didn't feel good about this. They didn't feel good about this at all. And you can imagine when the opportunity presented itself that they would take them down. Who are them? The Greeks. So you need to understand this geopolitical battle that's happening here in the Bible and how we get to the times we are today, in which now the European powers, which is the Edomites, are now destroying those over in the Middle East. This battle didn't just start with our time. They'll make you think that this thing just began. I don't know if I'm going too far off the beaten path, but I had to get that out there. Let's go to 1 Ezra 8 and 69.
1 Ezra chapter 8, verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land.
Because it told us in old time, which was Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, that these people that are dealing with all these different practices and exercises, if you don't stop them, it would actually overrun society and destroy the children of Israel. So the Most High was telling us to stay away from them because of their gods. And this happened again. It says, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and the Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land. Read.
Nor the pollutions of the Gentiles.
What's the pollution of the Gentiles? All their evil that's in our society, destroying us and demoralizing us daily. Read.
To wit, of the Canaanites.
You have the Canaanites.
Hittites. Perizzites.
The parasites.
Jebusites. And the Moabites. Egyptians. And Edomites.
These are all the societies that had witchcraft and sorcery and that was linking up with Satan to destroy the children of Israel. You think that changed? Didn't change. It just went from one society to the next. Now, during the time of Persia, and it's crazy because they teach this in college. If those that went to college, they try to tell you that, well, part of your vocation is to start learning the different cultures of the world, and they give you a book where you got to learn Zoroastrian, Buddhism, Islam, just different factions, and really what they're doing is indoctrinating you into certain things they want you to endear yourself to, because there's ideas in each of these religions. You're following that God that's over the nations. But understand what this shamanism was. This shamanism was actually scrolls from the past that was translated from the Babylonian time, and it was scrolls of Persia, and it was called the working of the chariot. With this particular literature, the Persians could understand good and evil. It was from the beginning, and they would control those that are in their empire. Okay, this is information scrolls that was used in Persia to keep Israel in check. They were ruling over us. And once the Persians were taken down, guess where this information went? Went to the Greeks. Now, there's more. Let me do this clearly. During the Dark Ages, they had this guy named Abraham the Jew. He was a top magician. This is during the Dark Ages now. While our people were ruling in Europe, you still had factions of Europeans who were there from the Dark Ages, which you would call, under Judaism, which were called the Serpent People. His name was Abraham the Jew. And he had information. This information was later translated out of the Latin into French, and it was called the Gocc. Now the Gocc is the teaching of good and evil. Now, top witchcraft is in this particular book. And it also, they use this to summon spirits and to control the masses' emotions. And they would do this in private chambers, in private political councils of what you would call masonry at that time. Yes, the conjuring of spirits to get information on how to rule a society, where to build, how to keep the people in check. This is the information that's passed through the elite. All right? Now, a little after that, you had Reginald Scott in the 1500s who wrote a text. His text was a knockoff of that, and it came from a book called, I'm not going to go into it, but it's Zoroastrian information. It came from Persia, the people who ruled over us, and it used sounds and music to conjure spirits. So they used music. Don't forget, Lucifer was the singer, the morning star who sung before the Most High. So certain tones, they understood, can control people through vibrations and sounds. Now, these are Jewish people back during the Dark Ages that are bringing that old witchcraft and magic into regular society. And the information that they used that was passed down to the Bushes, the modern day CIA and all them, is called the grimoires. It was translated out and it was called the grimoires, where you can control people through sorcery, witchcraft, necromancy, sacrificing. All these things are in this particular book, and they learned how to put it in society. They were taught how to make it a mainstream part of society. They would use movies, they would use anything to actually have society accept evil as the norm. Also, in the book, it taught them what type of flowers and what types of drugs to use and to find and to harbor if you want to control the people under hallucinogens. All this was in the book. This is the book the CIA used. This is the book your government used. There's no such thing as illegal drugs. They need you drugged up so that you can be susceptible to these particular demons and spirits. This is what we're fighting against, brothers and sisters. Now, this particular oracle this guy came up with, which is in our modern day high-level masonry, was showed to European aristocrats how to conjure spirits in their councils for directives on how to control the masses. So it's not, these guys are sitting down at the table, it's not really the council. They're just some dumbed down guys that's looking to be controlled by spirits. This is what we're dealing with here. And they deal with all types of rituals, okay? And with these rituals, the spirits enter the room and tell them their threats and what to do to stay in power. We're not wrestling with flesh and blood, brothers and sisters. On a whole nother level, we're dealing with a demonic occult that's over society, that's looking to destroy everyone. And guess what? They don't care. They know the earth is going to be destroyed. That's the whole point. Because in order for Lucifer to get up to the heavens, they must rape the earth of its resources to give him the technology to fulfill his promise to go to the heavens. So they don't care about earth. So let alone you. Let's go to Revelations, the 13th chapter.
Revelations chapter 13, verse 1.
Read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
And I went into that the other day to show you that the beast is the Roman Empire. Satan went from all those empires, and now he's over the Edomite empires, which is primarily Europe. Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Read.
And upon his 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy.
The name of blasphemy. So all the evils that the Most High told us to stay away from is now linked to this particular power, the European faction and powers who are ruling the earth today. And see, people are so concentrating on that they just focusing on that and not the powers that are controlling them. So they know the white man is the devil. He got to be the devil. He's the one doing this. Why would he follow this? Listen, every empire that was in charge followed Satan. Let me tell you, I'm not diminishing their role and the powers that be's role, but I'm not going to focus on that and not understand that there's a bigger spirit that we must fight against. Because those guys are just puppets. They're just puppets. Okay? Read.
Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet as were the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power.
And who gave him his power?
And the dragon gave him his power.
Who gave them their power?
And the dragon gave him his power.
Their power is from Satan. Their power is from these spirits. Now, reeling this back, during the time going around after the Dark Ages, when you get around the 1800s, okay, when you get around the 1800s, you had a guy that started dealing with the memoirs, and he was from Britain, and he started taking it over to America. Okay, so don't think Nikola Tesla was this great scientist with all this understanding. No, Nikola Tesla was a high occult Satanist who was getting information from demons. Okay, they needed the HARP system. The HARP system was actually dealt with through Tesla, so that they can send out vibrations to control people, to control moods, to change moods. This is all part of their science, their sorcery, their witchcraft. This is what the Most High told us to stay away from. That if we're under Christ, it have no power over us. So Nikola Tesla wasn't this smart scientist. He was a top wizard who got information on how to build certain weaponry to control people. Okay. Later on down the line, they had their guy Aleister Crowley, who was a top demon who they found in a room, in a hotel room, butt naked, screaming because the demons obviously overtook him. He bit all his fingernails off before he died because the demons that was giving him power eventually took him. They was using him on the music side with the same books that was from ancient times to be able to pray into the music, to send vibrations to cast spells over the world and use music to do so. Okay? So they learned how to take ancient technology that was controlling the world or controlling certain isolated areas and make it where it can be a worldwide what you would call spell on the whole earth. They took Hollywood and they took music and they took drugs, and all these was an idea of the spirits to destroy us. Okay? It's a lot of information, so I'm trying to just go in an overview. I don't have all that time. Okay? So this is what gets us to the place where we are today. When you have the elite that don't care about people, the initiations and oaths that your government officials must take to actually assume office, they take an oath with Satan. And when they get in their private little conclaves and their private little temples, they worship the fallen one. They get their technology from demons and fallen ones. Okay? Those that are in the electoral system that pledge to the flag and that actually believe in it are actually on a low level complicit also, because their spirits empower the satanic society and Satan whom they're praying to. Okay? I want to show one other thing. So this information, Nikola Tesla, also Aleister Crowley in the 1800s started bringing it with the Beatles music. The Beatles had it. Michael Jackson started dealing with it. Babyface started dealing with it. All these people started dealing with getting these spirits over their music. Okay? And that came from ancient time, even before the flood, under Tubal-Cain. The work of brass and using music to send forth certain vibrations. You notice in the churches. When the music goes, everybody goes into their convulsion. It goes into their spirit. Their emotions come to life. But when the music slows down, everybody just stop. They slow down. And no one perceived that they're being controlled by a spirit. No one can see that it's a spirit that's in the church that have overtaken your emotions. The Greeks call it the god of Bacchus, B-A-C-C-H-U-S. That was the god of music that come in and have you lose yourself in the music. Okay, so this is what we're wrestling with. We're not wrestling with flesh and blood, sisters and brothers. We're wrestling with spirits. So this is what, there's other things, but I want to go into that. I'm going to go into the war tomorrow, but I wanted to give you all some history and oversight according to scriptures. How this thing and this witchcraft passed from generation to generation, and now we're here, and in a time in which the Most High told us not to deal with these things, are a regular part of your society. One last thing before I go in and answer some questions. They dropped it in the movie Devil's Advocate years ago. Look at all the guys that so-called, what's his name, Al Pacino, was actually, he was a defense attorney, or had a defense firm, because he was showing the people that control the law firms. Who are they? Think about this. They was dropping it. And that defense, these guys were defending people who they know was guilty. But without these, a society cannot go. So you remember when you had that guy sacrificing for the rich and the powerful, the black Levite, that was sacrificing, and they was trying to lock him up, and they came and defend him so that he can continue to do his witchcraft and sacrificing, because they need him in society to do that. Remember the guy that was a pedophile that was raping kids and was found, and they got him off? They need people to do that. That's part of what keeps their society going, because their sacrificing and their ritualistic behavior is what empower their society. Now some people get caught and so they have to go through the process. But really, this thing is being done on a mass scale all over the earth, not just in America either, brothers and sisters. In the Middle East, I seen something today where a rabbi even admitted that yes, we sacrifice little Gentile kids every year, and we put the blood in the matzah balls. For Passover, we eat the blood of you Gentiles. That's what gives us power. And, of course, we're not cannibals, so what we do, this is what he said, we'll just send your body, your dead body of the kids and people we kill, to the butcher houses and get you ground up into your sausages and your McDonald's food. And we'll just feed you to yourselves. This is having your children go under the fire. This is the real world. This is what we're wrestling against. These sick, sadistic, satanic people. And the only way to overcome it is to overcome ourselves and put on the full armor of Christ. So brothers and sisters, don't be out there talking about the white man as the devil, okay? Any society that had power are being ruled by the devil. Every last one of them. So happens now, all the nations, because you had Ishmael and Edom at the pinnacle, now the other nations, Ishmael is being double-crossed now. That's your Arab Spring going over there, and I'm going to go over that tomorrow. And they are about to topple Syria. This is scripture, this is Esdras, and we'll be going into that tomorrow during the Sabbath, the Arab Spring. But I wanted to let y'all know so we can bring this in, put it in its proper context, how these spirits were able to go from one place to the next, and the records on how to control the earth, even under the CIA. The CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, is not what you would call a regular agency that's being controlled by people. It's demons at the pinnacle of the CIA. It's the Central Intelligence Agency. So the question you have to ask, what are they the center of what?